I just did a little fishy in the sea. But happy day 19, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about God searches for you. I'm going to read the verse, 2 Chronicles 16:9. It says, "For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless towards him." So this whole Devo, I talk about my girl, Wonder Woman.
You do.
And I talk about this scene that I love so much. It's my favorite scene in any movie in the entire world. Not
Really?
being dramatic. Yes, you know the scene.
I know the scene, but I just didn't know it was your absolute favorite.
It is the absolute favorite. I mean, if I really thought about it, maybe I could choose a couple other movies, but this one is like the best scene ever. It's whenever her and Steve, this is before she's revealed herself as Wonder Woman, she's Diana Prince, and they're about to go through this space and like the war that was like the worst spot at all. It was
No spoilers. We're not giving any spoilers.
No spoilers, but it was just a bad spot. And Steve was basically like, no one does this. This is not what we're here to do. We're trying to get somewhere else. This is not what we're here to do. She turns around. She says, no.
Super dramatic.
It is what I am going to do. And then in this incredible moment of integrity, she suits up in her Wonder Woman outfit and she just goes ham, and it was amazing. And it was just honestly a picture of what it looks like when we are spiritually ready for battle. And it's like doing the things that, no one else wants to do. It's the hard things. It's being the hands and feet of Jesus, but it's what we're called to do. And man, she puts up that shield, which we got the shield of the Spirit and the sword of faith. And it was just awesome. Anyways, I could get very carried away if I keep talking about that. But the whole point is she did the thing that no one else wanted to do because it was what she was called to do. Mm-hmm. And in our life, there are going to be things that no one else is going to want to do that you are called to do. And it might be the thing that's uncomfortable. It might be talking to the person that's overlooked. It might be the thing that everyone's like, oh, they're too far gone, or this is not even worth it, or that's too big of a job. But it's what God called you to do when he said that you are the light of the world. And so I just love that. That's such a great picture of that. And I remember one time, I don't know if you remember this, I wrote about this in the book, but we were kind of all just sitting around talking, our friends, and someone just kind of started talking bad about someone. And it was very unfair. It was like very obvious gossip. Sometimes gossip can be sly, but this was just like obvious gossip. And Christian just kind of stopped that person and just kind of questioned, why would you say that? Don't say that. That's not very nice. And it kind of just like got super awkward for a moment because that's awkward when you get called out, and it kind of made everybody feel weird. And then people were even mad at Christian, like, why'd you make that so weird? Why'd you make that feel weird? But really, like, he was actually kind of doing the right thing. He was stopping gossip. He was being like, hey, we shouldn't talk about this person like that. And I always think about that. That was such a good example of stepping in and leaning into doing the right thing in a moment that really you could have shied away from, because it's like, oh, this is not what we're here to do. But no, this is what I'm called to do. Mm-hmm. And I think about Paul. So, Paul was the guy who really got the church started in a lot of ways back in Acts. But Paul, before he was Paul, he was Saul, and he was persecuting Christians. So you can read his story in Acts. He's persecuting Christians. He was a part of the moment that Stephen was stoned. Like, he was a bad dude, and he was going from house to house to throw Christians in jail and kill them, literally. Like, it was terrible. And then Jesus shows up to him, and he was blinded on the road to Damascus. He ends up becoming a believer. But really what happened was God told a guy named Ananias, he said, Ananias, you're going to go and you're going to go to this man named Saul, and you're going to pray over him because I've chose him to be my messenger. And I just wanted to read this because I love it so much. It's chapter 9, verse 13. And it's right after the Lord tells Ananias to go and to pray over Saul. And he says, but Lord, that's how he starts it. But Lord, he said, I've heard many people talk about the terrible things that this man has done to believers in Jerusalem, and he's authorized by the leaders and priests to arrest everyone who calls upon his name. But the Lord says, but go, because Saul is chosen, he's a chosen instrument to take my message to the Gentiles, to the king, as well as the people of Israel, and I will show him much that he must suffer for my name's sake. And so God called Ananias to go and to pray over Saul so that Saul could go and do the Lord's work. And I just love Ananias' response, but Lord. And I think a lot of us kind of get stuck in that but Lord moment. Mm-hmm. It's like we're called to do something that seems crazy, that seems outside of the box, that seems like no one else wants to do the job. And we're like, but Lord, you don't understand. But I just want to remind you that what God has called you to do, not only has he equipped you for, but he's considered who you are. Mm-hmm. He's considered what he's called you to do, and he's called you to it for a reason. And had Ananias not gone and prayed over Saul, who knows, would he really have become Paul and gone on to do all the things that he did to get the church started? So friend, whatever the Lord's asking you to do, it might have started with a "but Lord," but I just encourage you now to follow. It might not be what anyone else is gonna do, but it's what you're gonna do, because that's who you are and that's what God has called you to.